Good evening, welcome to another episode of Grant Talks Funny Bits. So weirdly, I always say something happens every week. We've already had our technical issue out of the way. I'd lined up a new microphone for tonight because I'm a bit of a gear snob. And the moment I did the test in the screen earlier, it all stopped working and there was panic stations. So I've now gaffer taped my old mic to a mic stand, so everything should be fine. Today's guest is an absolute legend within the industry. If you have any questions, please, ask them live. This is your chance to get real feedback from your show and get questions answered from a true professional. This lady has been performing around the world, and this is an unusual for a lot of Americans don't have passports apparently, but this lady is a true worldwide star. She's been performing on cruise ships. She's a speaker. She does seminars, mindset, entertainment, you name it, and probably as you can see, I've put a shirt on tonight, especially because probably one of the most glamorous stage hypnotists in the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise, show some love. Oh, we've got Brian Glenn here. Show some love in a few moments' time for the absolutely wonderful Brenda Kaye. Yay!
Hello!
Hello, how are you?
Excellent. Thank you for that wonderful intro.
I always put loads of preparation into the intro, write it down on a piece of paper, and when I've got the lights in my eyes, I can't see a thing, so I have to make it up on the spot. So yeah, but it's easy with someone as good as you. So yeah, how are things with you? How is where you are? What part of America are you in, and how is that at the moment?
Well, life is good as a stay-at-home puppy mom right now in Denver, Colorado, in the United States. It's summertime. The weather's good. It's hot. Almost ready for a vacation. Yay! Getting out of the state this weekend. So yeah, things are good.
Brilliant. I mean, this show is about stage hypnosis, but just as you mentioned it there, the story of your puppy has been absolutely amazing. I mean, I've been watching it for, what's it been, a couple of years now?
Yeah. Well, I've had her for a couple years. Yeah. And last year she ended up herniating a disc in her back and she was paralyzed from the waist down. So she lost feeling and function. And we had the opportunity to pay $10,000 and get a surgery that may or may not work, or just try rehab. And so we went the rehab route, and she got acupuncture and laser therapy and all of that. She got a little wheelchair, and in just a couple months, she was walking again. So she made a recovery. So she's been walking now for the past 8 months on her own again.
That's amazing. I did see the little wheelchair thing with the back legs on the wheels, and I know it's horrible because it's it is what it is, but it was the cutest thing I have ever seen to see this little puppy running around with the back legs. What type of puppy is she?
She's a 10-pound Chihuahua Papillon mix.
Wow. I have a friend who has a Chihuahua and a Dachshund mix, so it's like a really long, short Chihuahua. So anyway, getting off topic, how did you start into stage hypnosis? Most stage hypnotists, as you know, are kind of weird middle-aged men with weird facial hair and pocket watches. It's a very masculine, male-orientated industry. Tell me how that was for you, breaking into it, and how was it for you?
Yeah, it's an interesting story in that I never had a desire to become a stage hypnotist. Rather, I started out as a hypnotherapist, and that's not even something that I aspired to do. It's something rather that just happened to me. It turned out that after I dropped out of college, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and I ended up volunteering for a hypnosis school that needed some guinea pigs to practice on, and they hypnotized me, and I loved it. I had an aha moment in one of my sessions, and I just knew that hypnosis or hypnotherapy is what I wanted to do. It helped me so much. It changed my mindset. It changed so much in my life that I wanted to do it for other people. And so I did my hypnotherapy training in 2001 through the National Guild of Hypnotists. And I was the youngest one in my class at the time. And everybody in the class saw me doing stage hypnosis. But I said, you guys are crazy. I have no desire to do that. I don't want to be on stage. I don't want to be the center of attention. I can't speak in public. Like, no way, no way. But I guess they planted the seed and it blossomed. And it turned out that being young and a therapist, people weren't taking me serious. So it's then that I decided I need to do demonstrations, maybe in the way of stage shows, to prove to people that I know what I'm doing. And so that's when I decided I need to get over myself and I need to get over my fear of public speaking and do shows. And so I started doing shows and I started having a ton of fun with it. But mind you, I had to do a lot of self-hypnosis to overcome that fear and to gain the confidence. And then I also realized that, you can use hypnosis to work on your goals. And my goal in life, even from back in high school, my goal in life was to travel the world like a rock star, to get paid to do what I love. And so once I started giving myself those affirmations and planting those seeds, it manifested in working on cruise ships. I started doing shows and they started taking off. And then somebody said, wow, there's not a lot of females doing what you do. Have you ever thought about taking your act on a cruise ship? And I said, what? Tell me more. He said, you come on the ship and they pay you to travel the world. I said, that sounds exactly like what I've been asking for. Sign me up. And so I gave up my private practice, gave up my apartment, gave up everything, took the biggest risk in my life to go work on cruise ships and see if it works, or see if it works out, see if I like it. I had never even seen a cruise ship before I decided to work on one. And that was back in 2007 that I hopped on my first ship. So it's been 13 years that I've been working on cruise ships.
I mean, I'm quite recent to ships. But for me, it was exactly the same. I mean, I got into stage hypnosis from a fear of public speaking. And my first cruise experience was, I always assumed cruise ships were just for old people and it wouldn't be a holiday that I would enjoy. After my first cruise, I'm like, wow, it's amazing. The level of service, the food, the entertainment is just another level. And I know a lot of performers, I don't know in the US if it's the same, but a lot of performers in the UK look at cruise ship work as being easier because you've got so many people in an enclosed space and there's nowhere else to go. Whereas I found the reality is the level of entertainment on a cruise ship is so high that they have got loads of places to go. There's restaurants, other bars, other entertainment. So your level of production has got to be so much higher than on land. So I do love it. Puts a lot of pressure on as well.
Right. And the demographic is much different than what you'd find in a bar or in a high school or in a college, and they're more sophisticated in that they expect more from their entertainers, their entertainment. And if you can't be engaging, if you're not going to get good reviews or get good audience feedback, then you're not going to get rehired. Yeah. You're only as good as your last performance.
Yeah. My first one, and I always talk about this, I always talk about the things that have gone wrong for me because you learn more from them. My first cruise ship was for Norwegian as well, and really excited about it, really nervous about it. And the cruise director has come to me 2 days before the show and gone, Grant, do you speak any other languages? And I've gone, no. Why? And he's gone, this is the first time we've docked in Hamburg and 80% of the passengers on board were retired Germans. And I'm like, why? And that was, when you say you're only as good as your last show, literally, I came off that ship and I thought, no one's ever going to book me for cruise ships again. But yeah, luckily the second show was a lot better show, but that first show was hard work. So in all the time you've been performing, you must have your favorite show. Either it's been a particular ship, a venue, or a show that's a really standout show for you. Is there anything that springs to mind, and what was it?
Oh man, when people would ask me, what is your favorite ship? I would always respond with the one that I'm currently on because it's the one that's paying me. But I like different ships for different reasons. The Norwegian Jewel was my home ship for 4 years. And so I really just got comfortable with that ship and got to know everybody. And we, would tweak the show. And so all of the lights were just perfect and everything was really awesome. And you you cultivate a family when you're working with the same people all the time. And so that's really cool. But like you said, I think the things that stand out are things that go wrong. Right? Things that you would never expect in a million years. And I should really take some notes down and just like write all the crap that has gone awry. Because man, and I think a lot of people, when they think about public speaking, they think about like the fear, like what if something goes wrong? What if I trip and fall? What if I don't remember my words? What if nobody volunteers, like that sort of thing. And I've pretty much done it all. Like I remember, on stage, I do like to get glammed up. And so I wear a big gown and I'll wear heels and that sort of thing. There was a time where my heel got caught in the crack in the stage and I couldn't get it out. I'm like, so I had to bend down and like jam my heel out or put my shoe back on, or actually like I stepped out of my shoe. There's a time a lady was playing the guitar and she kind of got wobbly. And so I went to catch her and I fell and she just kind of sat down. So I fell face forward and I had an assistant. I always hire a dancer to help me manage the people on stage. And I said, Curtis, and I'm pointing and he picks her up. And then I realized that my heels are caught in the tulle of my dress and I'm stuck on the ground. I'm like, I can't get up. So he comes and helps me. That was a hot mess.
How did the audience react to that? I mean, I've found that, I've slipped a couple of times on stage and it's the biggest laugh of the night. So I think audiences love when they're seeing something for the first time and they're the only ones that's going to see it. So when something goes wrong like that, it's a great moment for them, but not necessarily for us on stage.
For sure. But the thing is, like, just laugh at yourself, right? Like, what else are you going to do? Just have fun with it. And it makes you human and it makes you relatable. And people love stuff like that, right? I watch a TV show where people are just falling all the time and it cracks me up. And I guess it's my karma that, people would laugh at me for it, but people don't want it, but they expect, or they appreciate it. There was another time where I was in, it was a bigger ship. So it was a smaller venue. It was kind of like a comedy club. And most comedy clubs have like pillars in the middle of the room. Yeah. And somebody ended up getting hypnotized in the audience. So I walked out into the audience and I'm giving them suggestions and I'm firing off like the key word as I'm walking back to the stage. And so I'm walking forward, looking back to see if the person's responding. And I walk straight into a pole. Oh. And my go-to whenever I'm clumsy is I'm like, I'm a graceful gazelle. So I just said that, like subconsciously it came out and I just danced right back up onto the stage. So you just kind of, you tuck and roll with that sort of thing.
Yeah. I must admit, I think the stark contrast between, like you said, from the ball gowns and the sequins and the glamour. So walking into the post, it is actually great comedy timing. So, yeah.
Right. And as glamorous as I can be, I'm totally a klutz. So I guess it's, I don't know. It's humbling, I guess. Yeah. It keeps you, it keeps you real. But there's times too when I remember, and I think you're going to show a clip. So one of my favorite skits to do is have the guests act like they're second graders. Yeah. They're kids and they're goofing off behind my back. And then I give them different suggestions. And so I turn my back, I'm talking to the audience and I don't know it at the time. I watch it on the video later. There's a guy, he's an older guy and he's army crawling on the stage behind me. And I look down to see him looking directly up my dress.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, what? Oh my God, like, what are you doing? And he runs back to his seat and he hides his eyes. And if he can't see me, I can't see him.
Yeah.
Just like a little kid would do. Or, they've pulled my hair, they've poked me, they've pulled on my dress. One was threw shoes at me. That happens quite a bit. Or spit wads, like but it's fair game, you know, and it's fun for me to not expect what happens, you know. Then people know it's real, it's not set up, because I think a lot of times people assume that these are all plants, it's all pre-scripted, they're all just pretending, and they've made arrangements ahead of time. But when it's something just so outrageous that even you don't expect, then it just proves how real it is.
Yeah, and I think that's the important thing. We had a show in the UK quite recently on TV. Recently, it was a couple of years ago. You're Back in the Room, and they'd got the absolute best hypnotic subjects on the show. The problem with that is it looked too fake. Everyone was responding too quickly, and I think sometimes what makes it real is what makes it more entertaining as well. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to bring that clip in now and show it whilst it's on. Now, it's the first time I've been doing it as a screen share for Facebook, so anything could happen. So fingers crossed, at no point is anyone inappropriately going to message me at this moment. So I'll just bring this in now.
Okay, you know you're not allowed to be on your phone, okay?
Yeah, my pocket wasn't my phone.
Okay, you dropped it out. Okay, good. Okay, you can put it back. Yes, sweetie. Stop cheating. Who's cheating? Oh, there they're gone. Are you guys cheating over here?
No.
Are you cheating?
No.
Okay. Liz, what if I told you I can do some magic to help you get your belly button back? Would you want me to do that? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, what I'm going to do is wave my hand around your head twice. Snap my fingers once. You'll immediately discover you've been sitting there the whole time. 1, 2, and 3. Check it out. Did you find it? Yeah, let's give it up for Liz. She got her belly button back. Yay!
Fantastic clip. What's really nice about that is, again, it's that with stage hypnosis, sometimes a lot of routines can come across quite wooden, and it takes a while for the audience to get it. But with that, they just get it straight away. It's those little looks, it's the little interactions, and the audience, as you could hear, you know, was absolutely there in the palm of your hand. So which ship was that, by the way?
That was the Norwegian Star.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I must admit, it's always interesting. I think now, especially in the UK, for theatres, there's not many, you know, on-land theatres that now have stage shows, and stage hypnosis is meant to be on a stage. It's meant to have that production value with it, so it really does well. So we've got a message here from Janet, just saying, so funny, love the glam dress as well.
Thank you.
Jason Nobby Morgan says, boo.
Boo? What was he booing?
He's probably booing me. He's definitely not booing you. So Jason was the guy that was telling about earlier that when I was in my moment, Jason rang me up in the middle of the night and went, you know, get your finger out your ass, stop being so self-centered, get out there and do something. So he's an absolutely great guy.
Fun.
If there is, there's always stage hypnotists watching. What advice would you give them? What is your nugget, your thing that you think is the thing that helps you either elevate your show or gets you more bookings? What's that nugget of gold that you would give out there?
Oh man, the first thing that comes to mind is just be true to who you are. When you're genuine on stage, it comes across. If you're trying to act like somebody else or do somebody else's show, it's not going to feel right to the audience. And how you feel and you believing in what you say, it makes all of the difference.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that want to copycat other people's show word for word, and they can say the same thing in the same order. But if it's not real, if it's not how they speak, if it's not who they are, it won't come across right. So stick to who you truly are.
Yeah, if you don't know why you're saying it, if you don't know why you're looking at the audience in that manner, if you don't know why, it's not going to come across as congruent. Jan's got another question. Said, how did you make your first contact to book on a cruise? Well, everybody wants to know that.
I know. Ooh, it's a secret. But really, I mean, it comes down to being in the right place at the right time. I found somebody with a connection, and that was my in. And you have to have an agent. So either agents can come find you, or you can submit your work to an agent, and then they decide if they will submit you to the cruise lines.
Yeah.
And each cruise line is looking for different things out of their entertainers. And so you might not be a fit for one, but you could be a fit for other. But the only way to get in is through an agent.
Yeah. And I think you've got to have somebody says I've lost sound. Well, guys, if you're watching, if you can hear both me and Brenda, please say so. It might just be that someone's internet's not too cracking. I've always believed, from my experience as well, you've kind of got to have your ducks in a row. I don't know if that phrase translates in America, but your ducks in a row before you go to the cruise ships, because not only is it the agent that's got to look at your stuff and approve it, it's then someone from the cruise line that's got to look at it and approve it. And then once you're on the ship, the audience has got to look at it and approve it. It's not something, I think once you've reached the top of what you can do on land, that's when you kind of look at cruise ships. There's no shortcut to that. It is about, quality.
Yeah.
Jason says he can hear us and sounds all back.
And oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're the star.
And cruising is not for everyone. Some people get on there and they absolutely hate it. Yeah. Like it's a different lifestyle. Like it's a different, just it's not like you go and do a show and then you never see these people again. You're with these people for 7 days or 14 days. And so your work isn't just the show, it's mingling before that, mingling after, mingling when you're having dinner, breakfast, lunch. Anytime they see you, you're on stage, and you're engaging with the audience. And I think it's cool because I love people and I love hearing their stories and I love hearing about their experiences afterwards. And I also love setting up post-hypnotic suggestions that play out for the rest of the cruise sometimes, or maybe for the next 24 hours or for the next 3 days. And just seeing people around the ship responding when you're not even a part of it, it's really fun.
Brilliant. One of the things you do as well as performing around the world, where's your favorite destination, by the way?
I'm a beach girl, even though I live in Colorado. I love the Caribbean. Give me white sand and blue water. It's amazing. Hi, Christina.
Yeah, Christina said hi.
I love Hawaii too. There's just a magical vibe in Hawaii that I've never felt any other place on the planet. So
so as well as performing around the world, you also do the seminars and the mindset coaching thing. And at the moment you're doing one called Shift and Shed, which is, I'm guessing it's a weight loss one. Some really great branding as well. For those that are interested in looking at good branding, if you go onto Brenda's website, brendahypnotist.com, it's on the bottom of the screen now, and have a look at that. It's a great looking program. And you've kind of not gone down that route of, skinny waistline with a tape measure or an apple or, all that cliche stuff. It's really cool, fresh branding. So, and it's a great thing to be having going on at the moment. What other things have you got in the pipeline with workshops or anything like that?
Yeah, well, on the cruise ship, in addition to the shows, I would also do workshops. And with COVID taking away all of that, I figured, where's my pivot? What am I going to do now? And I love teaching my workshops. And so I decided to pivot my workshops and what I do in groups. I love working with groups. So I'm pivoting that online. So I'm taking everything that I was doing in my seminar and I turned it into a workshop. So it's a 4-week workshop for weight management. And the branding Shift and Shed came about because I really hate the term weight loss. I love the idea of shifting the mind to release and shed the weight. And so that's been it's not something that I was wanting to do. It's a need that people were coming to me for. So I was fulfilling a need that people were asking for. So sometimes where you think you should be going and then where people pull you are two different directions. So with that, be open to people, how you can serve people. And And
so Mark Paul asked if you can help people long term, i.e., quit smoking, etc.
Absolutely. I started out as a hypnotherapist, and I still do hypnotherapy. And I built my hypnotherapy practice back in 2001 on stopping smoking. Like, that's pretty much who I helped. And, you know, it was usually one session and they were done. So, and people were so amazed. I've been smoking for 50 years, and all of a sudden after one session, I don't. Like, this is cool stuff. And so then they would refer friends and yeah, built a business that way. But then less people were smoking and more people needed help with weight. And so for my weight program, it's typically 4 sessions, and my online workshop right now is 4 weeks with 4 sessions and different things mixed in with that.
Brilliant. And we were speaking earlier, and you were saying that you're kind of moving in towards like the corporate speaking and the corporate work as well. Now, I know that's something Christina does as well. So I think that's definitely a growth market with performers. How's that going?
You know, yeah, before the COVID, that was a direction that I wanted to go. And we were talking before the call about, you know, learning how to diversify your business. Like, Grant, you and I both love being on stage, being an entertainer, being in front of people. But when all of your eggs are in one basket and then that basket gets dumped or just taken away, it's like, wow, what do I do now? So I've had this knowing for the past however many years. I know I need to go in different directions. I just wasn't listening to that until we got this absolute, like, and you don't have an option now. So yeah, I want to do more keynote speaking. And so I'm working on a signature talk, and I'm working on workshops, and hopefully when they let us back into the wild, I'll be able to do more interactive workshops and more stuff on land. You know, I love being at home with my puppy and my family. And so if I can do that a little more, that would be awesome.
Brian Glenn has asked, have you ever done a male-female double act? He did it and it was amazing. Now, Brian Glenn was a stage hypnotist here in the UK who runs probably one of the biggest hypnotherapy training schools now in the UK. But yeah, in the day, he was the guy. Have you ever done a double hypnotist show?
No, never.
I've never done one, and I don't know how the dynamics can work on that sometimes, because we all have a bit of an ego. And yeah, it would be interesting. It would be a challenge.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I think that if you've got 2 people, like if you've got 2 head Indians, like the people don't know who to follow. Yeah, like who head chiefs. I don't know if that's even the right analogy, but if you know, it's better to have one person in charge. Then it's easier to lead that way. And yeah, I like to do things my way. That's why I hire an assistant, so I can tell them what to do.
Yeah. I also have Alan's not, he'll probably be watching. I always give him a bit of a mention. Alan was my sound guy on land shows for years. But until I wore him down, and he doesn't do it now, just because he was tired of getting picked on all the time. Another question. Hypno thoughts, is that something you will be so it's a bit delayed. Someone's just said they can hear us. Hypno thoughts, is that something? I know there's a lot of people that aren't going this year. What are your thoughts on that at this moment?
Typically August is a busy cruise time. And so it wasn't even on my radar to go. And the last time I was in Vegas was the day before they shut it down. And they're thinking of shutting it down again. I just read something. And so I'm not going to travel unless it's absolutely necessary. So I won't be at HypnoThoughts this year.
Yeah, my summer season obviously cancelled. And I kind of thought, this is the year that I can actually make it. But as it pans out with traveling, I don't even know if I still can. So, yeah. Well, I always ask the guests if you were to recommend 2 books that any budding stage hypnotist, speaker, hypnotherapist, anybody watching this, 2 books that changed your life or improved your business, what would they be? I only ask for 2 reasons. 1, just to give people a good insight into it, and 2, so I can put an Amazon affiliate links in the YouTube.
You're smart.
I have to say that now, because a couple of weeks ago I've gone this book and this book, and I think it was Anthony Gailey went, "Oh no, you can get this free on Google," and I'm like, no. Yeah. 2 books that aren't free. If you could recommend 2 books, what would they be?
The book that changed my life is You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay.
Nice.
It's an absolute phenomenal resource between mind-body connections and the emotional, the physical connections that emotional thoughts and behaviors have. So yeah, I still use it as a reference. And then The Power of the Subconscious Mind.
Yeah.
Gave me such a more easily digestible take on how the subconscious mind works. And I can't remember who that is by.
It's a fairly well-known book. I do believe I've got a copy of it somewhere, but I'll find out, and I'll find out, and I'll put a link in the description later.
Right, I think every hypnotist needs to read that book for sure.
Oh well, then that's it. That is a definite link. Jason Simons says, "Great and insightful interview, but what other performers or personalities inspire you?"
Ooh, great question. Oh my God. So when I started out, as far as stage hypnotist, Rusty Z was phenomenal to me. His show has the best pre-talk I've ever heard. I laughed my ass off. Sorry. It was the best. Like, I aspire to have my pre-talk as funny as his.
Yeah.
And he's been a great mentor. He's always been available. You know, we've met for lunch, and just a really good, positive resource, a good supporter. Michael Johns, I saw at the Comedy Works, or not the Comedy Works, Wits End in Denver when I was first getting started. And his show was phenomenal to me as well. And I met him after the show, and he was very kind and very, very gracious to me. So I really like both of their shows. I love personalities like, oh God, who's it? Kathy Griffin? She's a goofy comedian. Jenny McCarthy, I like her too. As far as just female entertainers, you know, in stage hypnosis, when I started, there weren't many females doing it. I think Melissa Pierce was one. And I didn't really know anybody else at that time. So I didn't really have anybody to look up to. And I didn't even know about Pat Collins until years into doing it. And seeing her stuff was pretty cool too.
Brilliant. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for taking the time out and kind of having this chat. It's you know, it's been really good and great to get those perspectives from you as well. So hopefully people watching have enjoyed this as well. So yes, I'll put up links to your website as well and put a description and get people to send over to your stuff as well. But thank you very much for joining us. Enjoy is it next week you go on holiday?
Yes. I'm going to the desert.
Fantastic. Well, enjoy the desert next week. And thank you very much for taking part in today's show.
Thank you, Grant. This was fun.
Cheers. Thank you very much. See you later.
Bye-bye.